Welcome to Nico Props. I am Chris Fry, also known as Nicodemus. So today I've got a bit of an update for you guys about the channel. So I was working for Dell Technologies. Unfortunately, with COVID at the moment and things like that, a lot of companies are having to kind of put people on furlough and lay people off. I'm being made redundant, which, you know, a lot of people are like, oh no, I hope you get another job and blah, blah, blah. Do you know what? I view this not as a bad thing, but as an opportunity. All right. So what I want to do is, I've got some money saved up, so I'm all good. I want to basically try and make Nico Props my job. I thought, I've got the opportunity to do this now. There's no point looking for a job in the current market, so I might as well try and do this while I can and enjoy myself and produce some fantastic content for you guys at home. So, on the content note, I'm going to hopefully be producing a lot more content. Now, that being said, part of today's content I'd like to do is I've been, for the last kind of few weeks, before the end of my redundancy, I wasn't required to do any work, so I wasn't skiving, honest. I've tidied up the garden, I've built a new shed out there for storage. We can have a look at that maybe in the morning. As you may tell, I've had a drink. So I may babble a bit, sorry about that. Yeah, so content, more content. I want to produce a couple of videos a week, which would be great. And this video, I want to be about the workshop and the work that I've done to clear it up and move it out to the shed that I built out in the garden and get it all ready as my new workplace. So let's have a look around the workshop. So I'm doing this on my iPhone, so I thought I'd give you a quick round tour of the workshop. So got the table saw, material storage, some drawers over there, got the lathe and the table in front of us, got all my paints and everything, got a bandsaw and also a pillar drill. And this brown type machine is in fact a vacuum former. I believe it's from like the 60s or something. It's usually used in factories for vacuum packing, you know, like blister packs of batteries and things. Got the compressor below it. Got the metal bandsaw. It's a bit smoky in here at the moment because I've just been doing some welding. Got my metal storage, some forks there. I've got various different bits of metal in here. I've got rebar and 15 and 20 to 1095, all for knife making and that kind of thing. I bought a pair of forklift tines, which I've cut and intended to make hammers out of eventually. So I think what I need to do is probably walk around the workshop properly. So, I mean, I can give you a quick view of it, like so. But if I kind of walk around, so I've been filming today. You can see the cameras that I've got set up here and a cable that runs up to the ceiling. But I'm going to start off with this. This is my forge. It's got two Gambon burners, or Gamco burners. This I've just left here. This is for my nail gun. That needs to go out the workshop. So I've left it there by the door to remember it and then forgot it. Anyway, I do have a tendency to put things on top of this forge as I come in that need to be put away, like hammers, and I've got my touch mark and also the Imperial mark. This runs off propane, and the propane cylinders are actually there. that runs all of that. In between that, I've got a table that is for my blacksmithing stuff. So I will put like what I'm working on at the moment. This is a piece of twisted Damascus that I made a while ago that I intended to make for Christmas presents and ran out of time. So we'll have to sort that out. I've got a blowtorch for lighting the forge, bottle for water, stuff like that. So this is all things that I'm working on, goes onto this bench basically. We've got the table saw here and an overflowing bin. I've literally just been recording the an episode coming up where I make this component basically for the Ed 209 project. So make sure you subscribe for that. Just going to duck under the camera. And then we have material storage. So I've got a shop hoover. I've got some of the kind of chemicals and things that I don't use very often at the back on the bottom there. I've got a bottle of oxygen along with my cutting torch, which runs off the propane, which is obviously awesome. Fiberglass and stuff in the middle there. And then in here, we've got various different offcuts of wooden things. So I've actually got some maple. This is Wedgwood. I believe this is maple, teak, African blackwood, and some zebra wood, and some pieces of aluminium or aluminum for the Americans that, you know, I could be turning down. I've actually used it for a project before. Strings and stuff, cups. This is some paint that I want to use for the Ed 209 project. This is actually just primer to go in a spray gun, which I have in the cabinet over here. Solvents and stuff, and just general bits and pieces along the top. We've got a cabinet, and at the bottom we've got a load of weights, which are very useful for when you're moulding and things like that. The top of this cabinet's a bit chaotic. I kind of use it as a bit of a dumping ground, I've got to be honest. So we've got pliers and grips and forceps and all sorts of stuff going on here. A messy screwdriver drawer that clearly needs sorting out, but it's screwdrivers and various different bits and torque bits. I mean, these are from tool sets that I've been collecting over the years, quite cheap ones I must admit. Spanners and ratchets and things. This was all nicely organized, but as you open and close the door, it kind of gets messed up. So I think I need to make a liner for that. We've got files, file card to clean off the files with, some carbide faced file guides, mini files. This was an engineering clamp. I don't think it's hardened in any way. That was yeah, I got it at a boot fair basically. Some drum sanders that I can put onto the drill press if I want to. Drill bits, various different types, Forstner bits, normal bits. I've got some other pieces here. I've got some various different ones in here. I've got the gradual ones as well, and hole cutters and hole saws. So this is kind of drill accessories, if you will. So this is all the drawer for the lathe, and also air tools, because I've got a few of these, or because I couldn't think where to put them, and again with the chisels, I didn't know where to put them. So yeah, in here I have a set of squares, precision squares. These are bits for the lathe, tools for the lathe. If I can close that one-handed. And drill bits for the lathe. So going up from 14 up to 25 millimeters. I've got drill bits that do the others, so I can just use those regular drill bits even on the lathe. So if I just move these chisels out of the way. I've got a knurling set here as well, which I have never used, so I need to learn how to use that. And then it starts to get a bit chaotic as we move down. So I've got a spare speed square, I've got a rivet gun, a rasp, some other bits and pieces. So it starts to get less organised. Clamps and airbags for pump wedges, basically, which are handy for lifting things up just a fraction. I've got my Dremel here. I've got a transformer and things for a foam cutter, which is here. I've got a hot gun tool there. I've got various different kind of Dremel and bits and pieces. And then in the last drawer, it's sort of camera equipment and lights and stuff, really. So that was a slight detour. So here we got the lathe. This is an Axminster Engineering Series lathe that I got second hand. It's quite good. I can if I close the thing, I've got the it goes slow. I can also do it faster. I can change the direction of it, which is great. Importantly, I mean, it's got this, it comes with the drill truck. I've got the drawer full of parts for it and accessories. So that's really useful for making round stuff. However, I've got to be honest, and I don't know how to use it properly. So I need to get some tuition on this, which will be up and coming. So stay tuned for that. Moving on, I've got the shelves here. So top shelf, super glue, adhesives, that kind of thing, accelerators, epoxy resins, and acrylic paints, some pens and more acrylic paints. On the next shelf down, I've got an Iwater airbrush. Now I bought this because I saw a video from Frank Ippolito over at Thingiverse. Not Thingiverse, sorry, Thingy. And he used that airbrush. It is a very, very expensive airbrush. You can buy cheap airbrushes. You don't need to go massively expensive to start off with. Got the key compressor for it under there. Here's all the paints for it. I've got my spot putty. I've got greener spot putty by M3, 3M even. And the red stuff too. Various different tapes, electrical tape, gaffer tapes, double-sided, PTFE, masking tape, enamel paints, some blades. Yep. Got some release agents down here, spray mount, basically anything that wouldn't fit on the shelves, really. Latex gloves, which is the last of the latex gloves that I'm going to be doing, or using, sorry. I'm moving over to these nitrile gloves. I actually prefer them. They feel quite nice, actually. It feels like you're not wearing a glove, whereas these, I feel really sweaty in them. Don't ask. I've got that. Can't remember the name of it right now. Various different spray cans that I need to find a home for. I'm going to make a shelf over there, I think, for them. Parts of Ed. I have a CNC machine that's in pieces that I need to put back together again from the move from the old workshop. I still haven't done that yet. And just kind of backtracking a bit along the cupboards here. I'm not going to call out everything, but I'll just run past the cupboards here. I mean, I've got, so that's all the MEKP stuff, mixing sticks, silicone sheet, various resins, colors, and then it kind of gets a bit more random. So there's that. I've got a tool board at the back, 3 drills. I've got the chargers down the bottom here. I've got various screwdrivers and such, and the bandsaw. Now, this is a cheap bandsaw. I've got to be honest. Look, I mean, it's not great. I need to get a new one, really. The bolts at the back of it have gone wrong. I just popped a skull on the top of it because I had it kicking around and it was, you know, didn't mold properly, so I thought it would look cool. Drill press. there. Under here, I've got, well, these drawer fronts that I pulled out from there, but all of these cases down here are full of bolts and screws and stuff like that. Problem is, they're all stacked on top of each other, so I need to come up to a storage solution for that. We'll do a video on that. Moving along, air compressor. This is, I believe, 50-litre air compressor, 2 horsepower. I'm hoping that it's going to be able to run the air gun that I bought for it. So fingers crossed on that one. And this machine here is my vacuum former. So this is a machine basically, it's from like the 60s, something like that, along that lines. And it was used in a factory for blister packs and stuff like that. So let me turn it on. And you can choose the settings for it. So you can choose how long you want to preheat the elements for, how long you want to actually hold the unit at the top for heat. Then you do the vacuum time. Blow off, if you've got it hooked into the compressor, you can blow the part off. So let's turn it on. It'll be noisy because the compressor will go. I'll move this drape up. The lamp will come on and it'll heat it, if there was plastic in it, heat it. And it'll come down and automatically suck out the air. So let's try that out. How cool is that? I mean, I bought this secondhand, and it happened to be up a couple of roads up from my house. Amazing. It was a bit of a pain to get it into the workshop, but still. Moving on, we're starting to get into the metalwork side of things. So this is a Holtzmann metal cutting bandsaw. So you can pull it up. If I pull it out, I've put it on wheels so it can be pulled out. I can raise the arm up, and what you can do with this thing, if I set it to 0, that's open, and then we should be able to see this fall on its own. Obviously you wouldn't do it that fast when you're actually using it, but still. It also pumps, if you want to, you can pump coolant into it. So that's kind of cool. Moving on, there's the metal store that we visited earlier. We've got the milling machine here. So this is an Axminster series. I think it's, let's have a look. SX 2.7. So it's nothing special. I've got an upgrade that I want to do a video on, which is I'm going to add this coolant mister. So that'll be cool. I've got the vise there, and underneath in the cabinet below, I've got various different attachments and oil and cutting fluid and things for it. Sandpaper. This is all Rhino Wet series sandpaper, all of it. Various different grades, and I've labelled it all. I've just put it in one of these Bisley paper organisers. Cutting fluid for the milling machine. And I've got various different heads and 321 blocks. There's punches in here as well for drilling. I've got a couple of faces. This is a facing bit. Carbide heads. I've got my M mills and things in here. So yeah, reasonably organised. And the clamps for the mill there. I've also got this, which is just a domestic oven. Somebody threw it in their skip, and I asked them if I could have it, and they said yes. I plugged it in, it all works. I put it onto a plug here, but I use this for tempering knives and stuff. I've got all my sanding belts around there for the custom-made grinder, which we'll get to in a minute. I'm going on the bench, scrap metals. So this is stuff that's too small to be able to put in the main storage because it would just get lost. So if I just want a little bit of something, I can come to here and get some channel or something like that. I've got my angle grinder. This is just a small one. I want to get a 9-inch one, and the discs are up on the wall there. I've also got a face shield, which I don't use. What I tend to use are these glasses most of the time. Ear protection, the control unit for the grinder, all the pieces for the grinder as well. So I bought some small wheel attachments from TR Maker. I've also got a TR Maker jig for knives. I haven't actually used that yet. Flat platen, large wheel, and this goes with this, which is a magnetic chuck. I shouldn't have run my hand up at that because I've now got a metal splinter in my hand. So this is a magnetic chuck, so I can put a knife onto here and then put it on the grinder and basically go backwards and forwards with it like that. And you know, gradually move it down and grind it down to the right shape. This is the grinder. So this is a custom made grinder. I can't remember offhand who made it. I think it was the TS project on Facebook. What I'll do is I'll put a link in the description below. But this was made for me in Poland. I put my own warning labels on it, and obviously the Nico Props label. It's got a 3-phase motor on it, which is why it's running off a variable frequency drive. So yeah, moving on, I have a workshop crane. So this, or some people call it an engine crane, but basically it will do 2 tons lifting. And the reason I've got it is to lift this bad boy. So this is a power hammer. It's 16 kilo full weight. So it's a little tiny little one. You wouldn't see it in a commercial blacksmiths, but it's good for hobby use. This is a, well, it's basically a hydraulic press that I made from a log splitter. So you can change the dies and you just pull them out. I say that, I'll just do the bottom one, there we go. And I can squish metal with that, so we'll see that on later videos. We have over here, the back shelves are, well, they need organising, frankly. I mean, a lot of it's material, so I've got some springs and things in there, and all of this lot seems to be materials, but there's still tools in here that shouldn't be there. These are punches with the alphabet on them, and I've got hammers and stuff, and it's quite dark because the bulb went up here, and anyway. Moving on, plasma cutter, which runs off the same power source that the hydraulic press does. And we've also got a MIG welder. And then we're back to the forge, and on the side of the forge I've got all my tongs on a little welded thing. Currently I have been welding, I said earlier, which is why it's all smoky in here. I was welding this. I was welding the brackets on the bottom of this stand and that little round cup on the bottom of the leg vise there, so that I can bolt this in to the ground and actually use it for its intended purpose and stuff. I've also got the anvil, which is a bit dusty, on my butcher's block brush for brushing off stuff, and my rounding hammer. So this was about £100, this hammer. I don't regret buying it. If you're starting out doing blacksmithing, buy a decent rounding hammer from an existing blacksmith. You won't be sorry. Right, so that was the workshop tour. Thanks for tuning in for my ramblings while I've had a couple of drinks. Cheers. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe. We're going to be producing a lot more videos, is what I'm hoping. And hit that bell icon for notifications. And here is a quick view of the workshop. See you later, guys.